Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to Living Richly with Curo, episode number 23. Michael Jordan's number.
Yeah, that's good
It's going to
luck.
be a good episode. Great
Yeah.
episode. Feeling good about this one. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Anna Cabe. I am the CEO and a partner here at Curo Private Wealth, and I'm joined, as always, by my awesome partner, Teresa.
Hello, I am Atrisa Roberts, COO and partner here with Ann at Curo. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, welcome back to another awesome episode. Today, we are going to dive into a topic that Teresa and I both love, which is donor advised funds. We're going to call them
Mhm.
DAFs for short because donor advised funds is quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, whether you are a seasoned philanthropist and you know all about DAFs, or you're just kind of delving into the world of charitable giving, hopefully, we will make this interesting and informative for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a great topic.
Yeah, it really is. They're super powerful vehicles. So before we get into that, let's do a quick A team catch up. You look vacation ready. So
Anytime you
excited
see
for
your
you.
hair, bring it. You should
I
probably know
know.
I've got a flight book, but yeah, so got not a long trip, but a short cruise planned for the weekend. I'm pretty excited about little late season getaway, which is nice because I could use a few days to turn it off for a second. So looking forward to that. It's actually the friend of a friend's birthday trip. I don't actually know the birthday girl, so that should be interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So my friend needed basically a roommate on this cruise. And of course, she's like, you need to get away. Come with me. And I'm like, okay. So I'm almost crashing this birthday party. But
I love
I
it.
told her I enjoy my own company. So I have no problem with being, alone and not like interfering with the birthday festivities. But the birthday girl seems to be very lovely. And she's like, no, I would love to have her join our dinner on Saturday. So there are some things I will do with the group. But that's what's going on with me. Just getting ready to vacation. And again, I'm not packed. Probably won't be packed until right the morning of my flight, which is my usual modus operandi. But we'll see if we'll see if I can try to do a bit better this week. We'll see if I can be a little bit more prepared than that.
You'll pull it together.
Yeah,
You will
I
pull it
always do.
together. Yeah.
I always do.
We were joking in our team meeting earlier that we don't feel bad for Teresa at all, that she's got to pull out her summer clothes again. We're like, wah, wah. Don't feel
I'm
bad
like
for you at
complaining,
all.
like I'm already switching to fall, and now I gotta go back and buy my bathing suits. And they're like, "Yeah, I have tiny violin."
Exactly. We're like, I'm sorry, are we supposed to feel bad for you? Because we don't. No, it's gonna be great. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
little
me
last
too.
little vacay of the summer.
Yep. Or we really get into the thick of it in the fall and
Yeah,
year end. So
exactly, which is always crazy in our world.
yeah. All right. So what's going on with you?
Well, as you know, I had another thing break in my house. It's always something. So our washing machine broke, but I actually have a good personal finance tip and a good story about the
Okay.
washing machine. So, it broke. We're in Home Depot. And when my partner and I decided to start living together, we decided to split expenses for the home. So not only just,
Mm-hmm.
mortgage and utilities and things, but also like if anything breaks, which it always does. So we opened a joint account. Typically, we leave our finances separate, but we opened a joint
Hmm.
account for all the home expenses. And we decided that we would each fund a little bit more every month than what we really need to pay for the expenses for the house. And
Okay.
so we had a little slush fund going. And so actually the new washer, we decided to get a new dryer also because we were like, this is probably going to go in a month anyway.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be dealing with this again. So the good news is we had this like found money that we had in this account. And so neither one of us had to like add additional funds for this
Right.
particular purchase, which was really great. So even if you're, not doing this with a partner, but it just got me thinking like taking a little bit of money every month and sticking it in like a home maintenance kind of
Hmm.
fund, because these sorts of things always happen when you're a homeowner, would be a great idea for most everyone.
No, I think that's a fantastic idea. And if it can break in your home, it probably will at some point. So just preparing for that inevitability if, as far in advance, I think it's excellent advice. Excellent
Yeah,
advice.
exactly. So that was the silver lining of the
Yeah.
washing machine breaking.
Yeah. And then you have to get the dryer because they're a pair. They have to match, right? So it's
I
like the
know.
washer breaks and then you've got to get it dryer too.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. And the dryer, we're already at the phase with the dryer where we have to like rerun it 3 times, you know, like it
Oh,
never
yeah. It's on its
dries.
way
It never
out.
it's on its way out. It never dries the clothes on the first round. So I was like, let's just bite the bullet and do it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say you could donate it to like the Habitat for Humanity restore, but yeah, none if it's on its last leg. You wouldn't want to
yeah,
take that
I wouldn't
away.
want to do that.
Yeah,
No, wouldn't want to do it. Hopefully they'll, you know, recycle it and do something
yeah,
productive with it.
yeah.
So that's my exciting news. No vacay, just new washing machine and dryer for me.
That's okay. Sometimes it's the small things, the little thing.
No, I'm not even excited about it. I'm just like necessary evil.
Yeah. But again, the silver lining is that the money was there to just go buy it. It
Exactly.
didn't feel like a burden. You were able to
Right.
just go do it. So could be
Exactly.
a much worse situation.
100% for sure. For that, I am grateful. And I wanted to share that little finance tip because I
No,
think
I think
it's
that's
a
great.
good practice.
I
All
think there was
right.
also another little hidden tip in there. Sorry, just to plug this for a second. For women or men or them who are in more non-traditional partnership arrangements, right? Where you might be cohabitating with a person you're not legally married to, having those beforehand conversations about how you're going to manage household
Yeah,
expenses and finances in the home and having that plan and both parties agreeing to it is also, I think, a very good tip that Ann didn't even mean
absolutely.
to share, but I think we should note that as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm not going into any sort of
Right.
cohabitation situation without very clear understanding.
Right. Very clear,
Without
clear
very
understanding.
documented in an agreement, very clear.
Right.
So,
I'll notarize the agreement for you if you need a witness.
no, it's in
No.
place, which is why
Yeah.
when any of our female clients or male clients, to your point,
Mhm.
anyone's getting in this sort of situation, I can very clearly and confidently say, this is my recommendation and I have done it personally. And you just
Right.
want to have this conversation ahead of time. So that is very important for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so on to DAF. So let's start with for those folks who have never heard of a DAF, have no idea what that is.
Mhm.
Let's start with what the definition is of a DAF. So Teresa, do you want to kick us off with explaining what on earth is
Yeah.
this thing that we're talking
I
about?
normally would, but I always kick us off. So I think you should kick us off this time.
Hmm, okay, I'd be happy to. All right. So at its most basic level, the way that I think about donor advised funds or DAFs is almost like setting up a mini foundation for yourself, your family, without having to go to an attorney, without all of the administrative burden and expense that's associated with actually setting up a foundation. So that's why I like to call it kind of a mini
Mhm.
foundation. But at its core, a DAF is a financial vehicle that you set up and you make charitable donations to the DAF. The year that you make the donation, you get a tax deduction, but then you get to take your time in terms of making gifts from the DAF. So obviously, any gifts that come out of the DAF have to go to a qualified charity for this to work. But it gives you some flexibility because you don't have to decide right now exactly what charities you want to gift to. You can put the money in the DAF, take the tax deduction, and then make gifts as you go over the years. So I think that's a nice kind of
Yeah.
foundation. Anything you would add to the baseline of
No.
what a DAF is?
Yeah, I think the biggest part, and again, why we call it a donor advised fund, because you as the donor get to dictate when and where those gifts are made while getting the immediate tax benefit of the donation. Because there are some people who have charitable intentions. They're just not quite sure who they want to make those gifts to just yet. So if you're looking to get the immediate tax relief, and you're charitable minded, then you get to advise as the donor where those funds go in the future.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
All right. So what kinds of things can you put into a DAF?
Yeah, the short answer is D, all of the above. Well, no, realistically, you people, of course, obviously, cash, right, is the sort of default donation, but you can also donate stock. especially if you have stock portfolios where there are highly appreciated positions. Those might be good ideas for donating to your donor advised fund. And then you can also do other assets like illiquid and alternative assets that you can add to the DAF. And no matter which type you use, you're always going to get that immediate tax deduction in the year that you make that gift, which is really nice. And then the other part of donating, let's call them assets that are in kind and not just cash, for example, stock, any future growth of that position is going to be done tax free for you. So you'll avoid things like taxable dividends and, capital gain realizations in your portfolio. So even if you're contributing assets in kind, those assets then grow tax free to you. So that's also another benefit to making contributions to a DAF.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that means more money for your charities, which is
Yeah.
always a good thing. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So one of the big benefits that we've already shared, but we just want to explicitly make sure we mention this. A huge benefit to this strategy is the flexibility that it gives
Mhm.
folks because let's say you have a year in which your income is particularly high. Maybe you sold a business or you got a big bonus or you had a bunch of RSUs vests that were, very highly appreciated. Whatever the reason, if you find yourself in a higher tax situation, in a year, this can be a great way to make a larger donation to the DAF that year to try to really maximize your tax benefits. But again, you have time to figure out which are the charities that you would like to send the gifts to versus having to decide that right now. Especially if this is something that you're setting up, say November, December timeframe. You don't want to be rushing to make a decision of which charities you're going to support. And you may not want to make the whole gift in one fell swoop to the charity, right? You may want to make it over a few years. So this way you can stick the money in the DAF, get that tax deduction this year, and then take your time in making the gifts.
Yeah. You essentially can create your own little endowment right, where you can make grants to, even if it's the same charity, of certain amounts every year. So it's a nice tool that you get so many options. And again, it doesn't commit you to one specific charity like some other options do. So there are, lots of passions or charitable causes that you want to support. You can spread the wealth through a DAF and make grants periodically to various organizations over several years if you like.
Yeah, exactly. So, one of the questions that we get sometimes when we're talking about this strategy with clients is what happens if I pass? So, one of the nice things about a DAF, and one of the things that we encourage is if you open a DAF, that you go ahead and name a successor to your account who can then, after you pass, make the decisions around the gifts that are taken out of the DAF. So, that is something it's almost like it's not a beneficiary because this person is not going to receive the money from the DAF, but it is the person who will then be responsible for making those gifts. So DAFs can be a great tool to get your children, especially if you have adult
Mhm.
children, involved in just philanthropy in general and what the process is and how you go through the diligence of figuring out which are the organizations that you're going to support. And that way, once you pass, your children or child or somebody else can make decisions around these gifts, but you've already set the guidelines and you've given them some insight as to how you make decisions. Not that they have to continue making decisions that way once you're gone, but it is a really nice educational tool to get other people that you love involved as well.
Yeah, no, very true. And it's also one of those things where if you are charitable and charitably minded, but you have maybe some feeling that your heirs or beneficiaries might not be, by making the gift, it basically ensures that that money is going to be used in some sort of a charitable manner. And you don't have to worry about, maybe the grandson buying a Ferrari with the money that you wanted to leave
Yeah.
to a certain organization.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, as we always like to do, we like to talk about pros and cons. So
Mhm.
far, I think we've talked about the positive aspects to DAFs, but what's the one negative aspect? Well, I would say two negative aspects or things to be aware of before
Yeah.
going down the DAF path.
Yeah. So the first one is that once you make the contribution, you can't take the gift back. The contribution becomes irrevocable and it has to be used in that manner as a charitable gift because, of course, you're getting the immediate tax benefit in the year that you make that gift. So then, of course, it would be frowned upon to turn around and undo the gift by taking it back. So that is something to remember. So you want to be sure that you are committed to the gifting. And then it's also good with the DAF of that flexibility where you don't have to do it in one fell swoop, right? You can choose over a period of time to fund so that you make sure that the gifts you want to make, you don't have to worry about needing to take the money back or wanting to take the money back, but it is a consideration. And the second one is that there are costs and fees associated with a donor advised fund. Many of the sponsors who provide them are 501(c)(3)s themselves, but there are still costs associated. And depending on who you're working with, it may not be super cheap. So you also want to look into what fees are associated with it and also ask other questions about how the funds will be managed. You want to make sure you fully understand what you're paying for when you agree to set up this type of arrangement.
Yeah, absolutely. Way less expensive, again, than setting up a full-blown
Absolutely.
foundation for sure, but
Right.
as with everything, there are definitely costs associated, and yeah, you wanna understand those before you go into this arrangement.
Yeah. But I do think that there is incredible payoff. I think there's incredible value in the certain situation for certain clients where it works really well from a tax planning perspective, from an estate planning perspective. So donor advised fund can provide lots of solutions in different areas of the planning that we do. And like I was sharing with you earlier today, we're having these real time conversations with clients about how to alleviate some of their tax burdens in a year where they have income that just sit them over into some other bracket, right? For example, the one I shared was the clients weren't really concerned about their marginal tax bracket. They were concerned about their IRMA or their Medicare premium adjustment now having more adjustable gross income in 2024. So it can be a really helpful tool in a lot of the planning places in your family's life.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great example. A couple other examples for when we've done DAFs for clients. We had a client a few years ago who had a super highly appreciated Apple stock position. I mean, he bought Apple like in the 90s. Okay. So
Oh,
we're talking, yeah, couple dollars of basis
right.
in this stock, and they are charitably inclined. And so we looked at, which would be more beneficial, taking cash and contributing cash or taking part of their Apple stock and donating that to the DAF, and the Apple stock was a no-brainer. So
Mhm.
that was a fun one to do. In another situation, we had clients whose business generated a ton of income. I think this was in 2023 or 2022, and they're also charitably inclined. And so they attempted to estimate the gifts that they were going to make over the next 5 years. And they just bunched those into the
Yeah.
current tax year, made that big donation to the DAF. And now they're, slowly but surely gifting that money. And that was a great strategy because they did have a super high tax year. And it was kind of a one off sort of
Right.
thing that they were dealing with. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is we have another client with a charitable trust who is taking income from the trust over the course of their lives, but they have their DAF as the beneficiary of the charitable trust.
Ah,
Yeah. So in a charitable trust situation, the one that we set up for them, they get income the rest of their lives. But then the deal is any funds left over in the trust have to be gifted to a charity. And so instead of naming one charity or a few charities, they named their donor advised fund as the beneficiary of their charitable trust. And then their children will make gifts
as the
out of the
successor
DA.
donor.
Yeah. So that works. Well, it hasn't worked. Thank God they're still with us,
Right.
but that will work well
It
when
will
we cross
work.
that bridge. Yeah, exactly. So, just wanted to share a few real life examples of how this has worked well.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Also, I've talked to some clients who are in like high income phases of their careers where they're earning really high income now, but they plan retirement in the next 4 to 5 years. So they started the consideration of starting to make the gifts to the DAFs now. where once they're retired and don't necessarily need the tax benefit as much, the money is still there though, that they can make the grants throughout retirement, but get that tax benefit now in their high income earning years, rather than making the contributions once they retire when it will have less of a tax impact for them. So many ways you can plug and play a donor advised fund to create solutions, which is like you mentioned, it's always the fun part of the planning that we do, right? What kind of nuances can we find around the planning to really help you save while also doing good, right? Which is a win-win.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think it comes down to us really understanding what clients' goals are, what's important to them. And we always say when we're kicking off a relationship with someone, we'll talk about the money, we'll talk about the assets, we'll talk about the numbers, we'll get there. But first, we want to understand what we call the whys of your life. Like, what's really important to you? What are you trying to accomplish? And then we can fill in the numbers and do the analysis for you. So I
Yes.
think that's really fun. And I think it's a unique thing that we do at Curo that we do this kind of proactive planning, and we're not CPAs, but we do help clients understand both the tax impact and in some cases the tax benefit of doing things like DAF. And then we can bring in their accountant, CPA, and make sure
Right.
we're all working together cohesively on this strategy for them. But we are happy to crunch the numbers initially, to save them some time and effort there. So it's really fun when we can put these things in place for clients and it checks the boxes of their goals and they can save some
Yeah.
money on taxes, which is great. So, all right. Well, hopefully that was good information for you about DAFs. Again, whether you are a seasoned charitable pro or whether you're just dipping your toe in the water, let us know if you have any further questions about DAFs or anything else. You can always send your questions to podcast at curoprivatewealth.com. If you happen to send a question that we then answer on our podcast, we will send you a $10 Amazon gift card as a thank you for taking the time to send us your questions. So let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah. Send them
Again,
in.
whether
Send them
it's
in.
send them in, whether it's DAFs or anything else financially related, we would love to hear from you. Time for our closing thought for the day. So, what do you have for a closing thought? You have to go first because you put me on the spot
I
for.
know. I knew that one was coming.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have anything super profound today. I think I probably have shared this a little bit before. It might have been one of my closing thoughts on one of the earlier episodes, but I'm going to double click on it because I realize, as a unmarried or even as an unpartnered woman, and I don't have children, and my family being back in Georgia, right away from me, I realized just how much I lean on my friends here in the area, right? My family that I created and that I've chosen. I get so much love and fulfillment from the time that I spend with them. Um, and it's just it's become such an important part to me of my life. And wanting to make the time to really pour into my friends and really spend significant time and in some way try to give them back what they give me. So my friend group here, we have never done a Friendsgiving officially together. So I decided that this year I'm going to host a Friendsgiving for my friends. Because one
Wow.
of the other things, yeah, that's kind of hit home for me too, is just we think we know in our hearts how much we love and appreciate people, and sometimes we can neglect to say it sometimes and show
Mhm.
it. So I thought it would
Yeah.
be a nice opportunity to really demonstrate to my friends how much I love them and appreciate them. So I will be hosting a Friendsgiving this year. You are invited because you are my friend.
Oh, I
But that's
guess.
only if you wanna come. I know you're busy and you have, your family and things going on for the holidays. But I just think it's a really good time to just really say thank you and, share a couple glasses of wine and, a dinner and just have a really good time showing some appreciation. So more to come on my Friendsgiving plans, but I really kinda wanna go barefoot Contessa with this one. So I gotta
I love it. You got to get preparing. Get on
Yes,
it.
so I gotta get an early jump on it, get the good
Mhm.
vanilla for the cakes and things for this year, so
Yeah.
TBD.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm honored to be invited. Thank you so much. That sounds
Absolutely.
amazing. And yeah, so important just to show gratitude and spend time, right? I mean, time is
Yeah,
such a finite resource. It's the only thing we can recreate,
Right. Make more of. Absolutely.
make more of. Exactly. So speaking of time, my closing thought is I actually posted a video that I came across on LinkedIn. It's Bill Gates talking about time and making space for thinking. I do the think days that I learned
Hmm.
from Bill Gates. But the caption of the video said, "Busy is the new stupid."
Oh, I saw this on your LinkedIn. I laughed when I read the caption.
Yeah, and I was like, "That is amazing." I love
Yeah.
that. Busy is the new stupid. So as you know, my theme, my word for this year was space, and my idea was
Hmm.
I just wanted to have more space in my calendar, more space to think and be creative and spend time with the people that I love and doing the things that I love. I would say I'm not doing a great job so far, but we still have the rest of the year to go. Think I'm doing better. Think I'm doing better than I did last year.
Yeah.
But anyway, this busy is the new stupid just really resonated with me because we don't just need to be busy for busy's sake, right? So I think my closing thought this week is for us all to be really cognizant of how we're spending our time and intentional. Intentional, I
Mm.
think, is the key
Yeah.
word, right? Intentional about who we're spending our time with and what we're doing, and really being clear with ourselves, checking in with ourselves. Is this activity bringing me joy? Is this person bringing me joy? Is this really how I want and need to be spending my time? Because busy is the new stupid.
Busy is the new stupid. I love that. We should print it on a t-shirt. Well, I guess that would be a copyright infringement. Bill Gates might sue us.
Yeah. I think he has bigger fish to fry. I'm not sure
Yeah,
he's
I just
worried
it's
about.
such a but when you think about it that way, right? Like it makes a lot of sense. I mean, even when I think I just shared with you that there are days when you're just sort of in these meetings and you're running around like a crazy person, and then you finally sit down and you go like, "What did I do? To like what did I actually get done? To like I've been busy all day, but what did I actually get done?" So I do think that's important to remember. Just because you're busy doesn't actually mean you're accomplishing a lot. So
No.
making intentional time, right, for yourself, for your family, for your work, or like you said, your days where you just want to think and process. We get so few of those now, so
Yeah.
they become so valuable where you get some time to be like, I just want to sit and consider, right? Maybe read a book, maybe find some inspiration, right? Do something that sparks something in my brain. So I think that's a wonderful advice.
Yeah. And doing those things first, because there will always
Yeah.
be other things. There will always be
Oh,
other
yeah.
demands on your time, right? Like, don't worry, things will find themselves to you. So, doing those things that are really key and really important first, and then filling the rest of the gaps
Yeah.
in as needed.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that. I need to like print that on something so I can see it every day.
Yeah, we should make little Curo signs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us for today. Thank you again for spending some time with us every week. And our ask this week, as always, is to please give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. Let us know what you learned in this episode or what you potentially are going to do about something that you learned in this episode, and share this with a friend who you know is charitably inclined.
Yes. Please.
That is my ask. Yes. So we will see you back here next week. And thank you again for tuning in.
Yep. Until next time, live rich.